In this practice, we'll be working on hip abduction and hip adduction, meaning drawing the leg further away from the midline and drawing it in toward the midline. Frequently, people refer to this as hip AB abduction and hip AD adduction. We'll start on our side. I refer to using a block and a strap. For using the block, you can just prop your foot on a pillow or something else, and strap you can improvise with a towel or a t-shirt. We'll be supine the entire time. If you'd like to do this practice on your mat, by all means, or you can be in bed, whichever you prefer. So let's begin. Come to lie on your side, and here's the way we're going to do it. With the block in its tallest position, put it to the side, keep your bottom leg bent, come down to your side and reach your top foot to the block. And you can come all the way down and let your head rest on your arm. Now, with your foot supported, take your hands right at your waistline to begin with. And notice if you lift your foot up off the block, how those muscles start to work. The side muscles really start to work nicely. You lift up and down and you engage really nicely. And as you lift up and down, you just notice that. Now take your hand to the outer hip. Right? You can keep your thumb on your waist muscles to just check that out. But take the rest of your fingers to your outer hip area. Now we're going to find the abductors, and that involves not lifting your leg from the side waist muscles, but trying to work the outer hip muscles. So with your hand just slightly below the pelvic crest, inhale, lift the foot up, exhale, soften. Inhale, lift up. See if you can feel any muscles there in the pelvis firing up. Learning the biomechanics here of the pelvis allows you to create a little bit more awareness to how you can gain pelvic stability. Keep on pulsing the leg up and down and up. You're just tapping it down, just feeling with your fingertips how this one muscle is really engaging. Again, this tends to be like an underutilized and kind of weak muscle. So just by lifting your foot up and taking it down, continuing this action with your toes engaged, with your toes spreading, as you draw in from the toes all the way to the pelvis, like at some point, you feel like, oh my, it's getting a little tired here. If you're really doing that engagement, it's getting tired because we don't use this muscle very much. So lift it up and down. Let's do 3 more cycles. Take it up and tap down, reach up and tap down, and 1 more, lift up and tap down. All right, let's come to the opposite side. You can just roll over. Now that you've got the idea, I'm going to turn myself around to face the camera. But have your bottom leg bent again. Reach your foot out so that you can tell exactly where your block needs to be. Place your foot on the block before coming down to your side. Rest your head on your outstretched arm. Your hand can be in front of you, but see if you can get your pelvis pretty much in a vertical position here. one pelvic point stacked on top of the other. First, take your hands right at the waistline and just feel as you lift the foot up and down. Just feel how you engage now these core muscles in the side body. You're lifting up and taking it down. Lift up and take it down, and up and down, and up and down, and up and down. Now move your hand so your thumb can stay at the waist area, but just slightly to the outer hip area with your fingertips pressing into that area. See if you can fire these hip muscles, these hip stabilizers, as you continue the action. You're lifting up and down. It looks so easy, but once you really get like a clue about what muscle it is you're trying to work, it's not so easy. You feel like, oh my gosh, this is a lot of work. Spread your toes and draw from your spread toes to your pelvis. Keep that tone in the muscles. And let's do three more. Inhale and lift up. Exhale, soften. Inhale up. Tap down. Inhale up and tap down. All right, let's come to Baddha Konasana, supine Baddha Konasana. So that's with your feet together, but we'll be lying on our back. You're just kind of doing this pulsing action, lifting up and down. It's not like well, it's pretty active pose. But you're just trying to engage the feet as you lift your and do this pulsing action as you lift your inner knees up, pulsing. Now lift your knees up quite a bit, not so that they're touching, but so that they're pretty far away from the floor. Hold that pose. Keep on pressing your feet in toward each other. Now draw your knees just slightly further away from each other. Keep on pressing your feet in toward one another. Keep that action. Now keep pressing the feet and take the knees down just a little bit more. It's really working to get these inner thigh muscles engaging as we work the inner thigh muscles and the outer thigh muscles, or sorry, outer hip muscles, the AB abductors and the AD adductors. So pulse a little bit more, lifting your knees up and down, just kind of bringing a little bit more fluidity, a little bit more hydration to the area of the pelvis as you keep this action going on. Draw your knees together. With your knees together, roll over to your right side. Pause there. You can use a block under your head, or if you've got a pillow, do that. Have your knees essentially lined up with the pelvis here, with your inner big toes pressing. With your hand right at the waistline, like we did earlier, lift your top leg up and just notice that engagement. Now keep your thumb right at the waistline. Take your fingers to the outer hip area. Inhale, lift the knee up, and exhale, draw it down. Do that 3 more times. Lift your knee up and take it down. You want to go pretty slow as you're doing this. Inhale, lift up, and hopefully you're feeling this outer hip area turn on, that adductor that we don't use that much, or we don't engage maybe as giving it as much strength as we could. This is your opportunity. Now release your knees together. And with your knees together, lift your top foot away from the bottom foot. Feels very awkward, but it allows us to work a different part of the pelvis. Release your foot down. Inhale, lift the top foot away from the bottom foot. Exhale, take it down. Inhale, lift up. Exhale, down. One more, lift up and take it down. Very good. You can roll over with your feet together. Take your top knee away from the bottom knee and draw your knees together again. You can take your hand right to the waistline. Just going to notice as you lift your top knee away from the bottom knee, how those muscles come alive. Now take your thumb right at the waistline. Take your fingers just to the outer hip area. Lift your knee up and draw down. Lift your knee up and draw down. Lift your knee up and draw down. Just pause there. With your inner knees touching, lift your foot, your top foot up and reach it down. Lift your top foot up and let it tap the bottom foot. Lift your foot up. It taps the bottom foot. 3 more. Lift up, tap down, lift up, tap down. Hopefully you're feeling these outer hip muscles turn on a bit. Reach up and down. Very nice. Now come to lie on your back with both knees bent. As you reach your right leg up, wrap the strap around your right hand in such a way that you feel like you don't have to use your fingers that much. It's right around the palm of the hand. Draw your right toes out a little bit more so you're externally rotating the whole leg when you do that. So with the toes turning outward and directing toward the floor, take your leg just slightly closer to the floor. We're not going too far here. Just working on externally rotating the whole leg as you keep your hand to the pelvic point here, because you're trying to make sure that you don't go too far, right? We're just working on these specific muscles today. We're not working on the hamstrings. If you were, we'd take the leg way out to the side. We're not doing that. We're just drawing it out just slightly. Keep turning the toes to look toward the floor. Inhale, lift your leg up. Now straighten the bottom leg. Take the strap in the opposite hand, wrap it around the palm of the hand. Draw your right foot over to the left side. Now, if you've got your block, let it land on the block. It's best to land on something. So land it on the tall block if you can, and just pause there. See how you can engage the leg. For some of us, you might feel a lot of tightness constricting the pelvic area here. So bend your knee if that's the case for you, so that your hamstrings are not overworking in this pose. Inhale, lift your foot up and release it down. Come to the opposite side. Take your left foot up. Take the strap and wrap it around the palm of your hand. Turn your toes to externally rotate your left leg. Draw your left toes toward the floor just slightly while keeping your right hand to your right pelvic point. You'll know if it just starts popping up into your hand, you'll know that you've gone a little bit too far. Just pause here. If you're really working these actions, meaning the actions of spreading your toes and engaging the full length of the leg from the toes to the pelvis, you'll feel like the leg muscles are really working. So keep the leg active. And inhale, lift your foot up. Now take the strap in the opposite hand. Those of you that would rather not go into twist, just keep your leg very active and leg lifting. Those of us going into the twist, you can take your foot all the way over, and I like just putting it on a block or something to keep everything nice and lined up. Your free left hand, you might even want to take it right at the top of the thigh to urge the top of the thigh to draw away from your waistline. You'll get a lot more opening that way. On the next inhale, lift your foot up and release your foot down. With your feet once again in this pose that we've been doing a lot, Baddha Konasana, take your feet together, take your knees wide apart, press your elbows down. With the elbows pressing firmly, lift your heart, draw your inner knees in toward each other. Draw your knees up toward your chest with your hands right at your knees. Just move side to side. And in your own time, make your way to Shavasana. So as you stretch your legs out, release your arms. Soften all of your facial muscles. Enjoy the ease of Shavasana. Namaste.